Good morning. Today I'm taking a trip to Manila, Arkansas. I haven't done this trip in my 2015 Spark EV yet, so I thought I'd document it. If you look at the map, you'll see that there's no charging stations, as usual, because we have very few charging stations around here. I'm going to enter into Missouri just a little bit, then shoot down to Monette and go across to Manila. Now, if you look at the elevation map, this is for round trip. Where the 2 is where it's my destination, and I'm losing about I'm going downhill about 70 feet over this 30 miles, which is no big deal. Then on the way back, I'll be going uphill about 70 feet. Now, you would think on the way there I would get a little bit better miles per kilowatt hour, but I went to Lake City. I don't know, a few weeks ago. And it worked just the opposite. When I was going, Lake City's in the general area as Manila, about the same, just a little bit apart. And on the way to Lake City, downhill a little bit, I actually did a lot worse on my miles per kilowatt hour than I did on the way back. So, I don't know, maybe it was the wind direction or something. So we'll see if that holds true today, but I should get better miles per kilowatt hour on the way there as I do on the way back. Now, if it's a round trip, then elevation shouldn't matter a whole lot. You should gain going one way and lose going the other, or vice versa. In most situations, I would think. So we'll see. At 61.3 miles, I can usually get about 75, pretty easily, I think, in non-winter. Don't know what it's going to do in winter. I'm anxious to see that. I haven't had it during the winter months yet. But anyway, 61.3 miles. So I'm not going to conserve energy. I'm going the speed limit. I'm going to drive it like I do my ICE vehicle, my wife's ICE vehicle, about 3 to 4 miles over the speed limit. And as I've mentioned in another video, the good thing about an electric car, if you see that it's going to be too close for comfort as far as getting home, you can always slow down. But I don't think that's going to be necessary. So, here we go. We're ready. Just started with a full battery. Says we can go 80 miles. Manila, Arkansas, population 3,342. Almost to my destination. Man, this is new. They've moved their Sonic, or the road just looks different maybe. I think that's it. This road just looks different. They've redone it. I passed it up, and I've been here a few times before. We made it. Let's see here. We got 42 miles left on the guessometer. 5.1 miles per kilowatt hour. Wound up being 30.6 miles. So I project on the way back, we'll have about 12 miles, 9 to 10 miles left. And for those that aren't used to electric cars, that may not sound like much, but that's making it home pretty easy in my book. So, all right, I'll sit here and get a little lunch and then head back home. I just ordered my food, and like always, I love Sonic, but I special order it, and at least half the time, it really confuses them. Because, the burgers here come with lettuce, tomato, pickle, and onion, and your choice of mayonnaise, mustard, or ketchup. I always say, no tomato, add hickory sauce, which is barbecue sauce. That confuses them so many times. And what that means is, all the vegetables that normally come on, except for tomato, and then hickory sauce instead of mustard, ketchup, or mayonnaise. And I'd say probably half to 3/4 of the time they understand what I'm ordering. But man, it confuses them so many times. But if you ever go to Sonic and you've never tried one of their burgers with hickory sauce, you ought to do it. It's good. Very good. There it is, my burger with hickory sauce. The natural cut fries are good too. Okay, heading home. We got about 31 miles to go. There's 42 miles on the guessometer, and we're averaging 4.9 miles per kilowatt hour. Now, if you subtract the guessometer miles and how many miles it is to the house, it should be about 11 miles left. It doesn't mean there will be. You know, it could be anywhere from 6 to 17 or 18 miles left. But this is the thing where my wife would be scared to death. She would never attempt to go anywhere in this car if it was 31 miles away and has showed 42 on the gasometer. She'd be scared to death. So would a lot of people, especially those that are used to gas vehicles, because you just cannot trust a gas car to really go 42 miles. Who knows how far it'll go. But I've had this car down to 2 and it was still running. And from what I understand, they purposely built the Chevy Spark EV, and I think all EVs in general, to make sure that it would go to the point of 0 or past it. So you don't have to really worry about that. And in the worst case scenario, I could slow down to 25, 30, 35 miles an hour and really increase my range. But that's not going to be necessary. This whole trip I'm driving it just like I would an ICE vehicle, 2 to 3 miles over the speed limit. Speaking of which, I don't even know what the speed limit is right now. Better slow down to about 45. Okay, buddy, let me go your way. There you go. But anyway, yeah, you know, no range anxiety from me. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it during the speed limit. Another thing. A lot of people probably wonder why in the world I travel all over, pull into a Sonic, eat, and then go back home. Don't do anything else. Just for something to do. I was working 15 hours a week, 3 5-hour days, and they cut out one of my days, so I've been down to 10 hours a week for the last several months. About the last 3 or 4 months at work. So I have so much free time on my hands. I need something to do, so, you know, it costs so little. And I like Sonic, so I just go to Sonic here and there just for somewhere to go. If I go into a real store, like if I were to go to the Turtle Creek Mall in Jonesboro, I'd wind up buying something I don't need and spending money. At Sonic, you can't buy something you don't need, really. I mean, I don't need the fast food, believe me, I've got a gut. You know what I mean? I can't go in there and think, hey, that's a pretty cool looking phone, and upgrade my phone. Nope. So I stay out of stores. But Sonic gives me somewhere to go, something to do, and gives me a reason to make a video. Alright, 60 mile an hour zone, kick it up to 62. Let's make it 64, just to prove I'm not scared. If you're wondering how I get by working so little, when I was 37 years old, I had a motorcycle wreck. This woman ran a stop sign. She stopped at the stop sign, but then she went when I had the right of way. It caused me to lose my leg. So I just worked part-time. I also get a disability check, or as I call it, my big monthly check, my big monthly government check, which in all honesty is not that big, but I get that every month and just work part-time. My cousin, my EV hating cousin, he told me when I first went to work, he said, man, you're throwing away the #1 benefit to losing your leg. You don't have to work anymore. And honestly, that was one of my first thoughts when I lost my leg. I was trying to look at the bright side and thought, hey, at least I don't have to work anymore. Well, I got bored in retirement. I wanted something to do, and besides the fact, you know, man, it don't hurt me to work a little bit. Now, where I work at, one of the big box retailers, I couldn't work full time. There's just too many things I can't do. I can't wear a prosthetic. It means I can't walk, I can't climb ladders, I can't get stuff out of top stock, put stuff in top stock. Too many things I can't do to work full time. For me to work full time there, they'd have to really make some accommodations they shouldn't be asked to make. Probably hiring an extra person just to help me, and that's just ridiculous. I can work part-time, bring a little income into the family, give me something to do, contribute to society a little bit. Ain't gonna hurt me. Besides, the benefits are really good. And why not? I got nothing else to do. I just slowed down to 60 miles an hour, so now I'm going exactly the speed limit. The reason is I got about 22 miles left to go and 29 miles left on the guessometer. I can still make it home, you know, going 4 miles over the speed limit. But I see no reason to risk it just in case I'm wrong. I don't want to have to get up here and have to slow down to 35 or 40 miles an hour. So I went ahead and slowed down now to the speed limit. When I get up here to the 55 mile zone, I'll look and see how much I've got left as far as miles to the house and the guessometer, and then decide if I want to go 55 or 58. Because it's about to turn into a 55 zone up here somewhere. Right now, I've got 28 miles to go on the guessometer, and I've got about, I'm figuring about 22 miles to the house. 21 or 22 miles. So that's about 6 miles left when I get there. Back in Missouri. I live in northeast Arkansas, which is right here by the Bootheel of Missouri. So if I go to Manila, or a lot of places in Arkansas, I wind up going through Missouri for just a few miles. And I've heard that the reason there is a Bootheel in Missouri is because when Arkansas became a state, some big farmer or rancher who owned most of this territory in the Bootheel did not want to be a part of Arkansas. So he pulled some strings and did some things, and they let him stay in Missouri, or put him in Missouri or something. So allegedly that's how that came about. I've never really looked into it to find out. But we'll be in Missouri for just a few minutes, then back in Arkansas. Oh, look at all the cotton. Right up here is a place real close to the Missouri border called Mr. T's. You can see it right up here. You go there and get liquor on Sundays, because Arkansas is actually illegal to sell alcohol on Sundays. So a lot of people come here to the state line from my neck of the woods. Now, I don't drink, and to get their alcohol on Sunday, they forget to pick it up on Saturday, I guess. And even on 4th of July, I mean not 4th of July, even on New Year's Eve, every time New Year's Eve rolls around, if it's on a Saturday, the bars and clubs in our area, they try to get a waiver from the state to allow them to sell alcohol on Sundays, and it's always denied. So the bars and clubs have to close down at 11:59 p.m. on New Year's Eve. Now imagine how much that harms their business. But Mr. T's, you can also go there and buy cigarettes cheaper, because I guess the cigarette tax in Missouri is less than the cigarette tax in Arkansas. I actually have some family members that smoke in Walnut Ridge, and they drive up here and get cigarettes once every week or two. They drive all the way, man, it's probably, I don't know, 70 or 80 miles round trip. And you're only allowed by law to carry so many carts of cigarettes back into Arkansas. I don't know what that limit is. And my family don't do this, I'm sure, but there are a lot of people that violate that law. In Arkansas, you know, our property taxes is not bad. As far as our real estate taxes are not bad. But besides real estate taxes, for us being a southern state, man, our taxes are kind of high everywhere else. I did kick it back up to just like I would with an ICE vehicle. I'm going 64 in a 60. I'm, let me see how far from home. 8.4 miles to home, 16 miles left on the guessometer. There's probably about 4 miles before I hit town, and then I'll be going 45 and won't be using much energy at all. I could have made the trip. I know I could have made the trip driving 3 or 4 miles over the speed limit the whole way, but I didn't have the guts. I had a few miles there where I was like a little sissy girl, you know, but I could have done it. But anyway, I never dropped below the speed limit. Right up here is a Sonic just about 2 miles from my house. I could have gone there for lunch today. But I went to the one in Manila instead, which as of right now is 59.8 miles I've driven to do that. Yep, that would have been just as good, I guess. I just got this warning. The vehicle's power is low. Would you like the radio to power down in order to conserve energy? Yep, I'm almost home. Why do it now? 8 miles left. I haven't gotten the charge vehicle soon thing pop up yet, which kind of surprises me. I thought I would. So here's what I did on this Manila trip. Let's recap. I drove most of the time 3 to 4 miles over the speed limit. There was probably about a 4 mile stretch, maybe 5, where I drove exactly the speed limit. But for the most part, I drove 3 or 4 miles over, just like a nice vehicle. Because at least in non-winter, I know what this car will do most of the time. And so I wasn't at all worried. And right now I've driven 60.4 miles, and I'm about 2 miles from the house. And a good part of this trip, I was going 63 and 64 miles an hour. On this electric car, once you, I don't know exactly where, but 65 for sure. Somewhere around 65, 68, you really start burning some energy. Under 60, it doesn't burn as much as you might would think. 60 to 65, a little bit iffy. But it doesn't, you know, when I go to Jonesboro, it's only about 40 miles round trip. I'll go 63 or 64 on that road, but this one was a lot farther to be going, you know, that fast. But it made it pretty easy. And as I always say, my car has a little more battery degradation than most of these 2015 Spark EVs with 30,000 miles. Most of these cars seem to get about 10, maybe even 15 miles more than I do. Now, if I had that car, if mine didn't have 20% battery degradation for some reason, then right now instead of 7 miles, it'd probably have, you know, 20 miles on it. And I never would have slowed down. But like I said before, I got my car for about $11,000 to $1,200 less than what most of them are selling for. And to me, it's not worth an extra $1,000 to $1,200 to go an extra 10 miles. Even though I kind of wish I had done it now, just because I didn't realize how much it would bother me. Just knowing that mine isn't as good as most of them out there, but it still does what I need it to do. As soon as I put it in park at my house, I got the charge vehicle soon sign. I used 90% of the battery, 12.6 kilowatt hours. At 6.5 cents per kilowatt hour, then that's about 75 cents. Roughly 75 cents for me to go to Manila and back. Let's see how far that was. I'll get exact, 61.1 miles, about 75 cents. In a pickup truck that does maybe, you know, 18 miles to the gallon, 1836, it'd taken what, 4.5 gallons? No, not that much. About 3.5 gallons. You know, about $9 or so. And my wife's SUV, which does pretty good on the highway, 29 miles to the gallon, it would have cost us about $6. You know, and that's pretty good for an SUV. Crossover, actually, if you know you people want to get technical. All right. On the way back, 30.5 miles, 4.8 miles per kilowatt hour. Okay, I'll take it. There was 7 miles left. Once again, easily made it home. All right, guys. All right, y'all. Sure do appreciate you watching. Remember, chicks dig scars and electric cars. Have a good day.